Bulldogs have lost their last 3 games and they seriously need to win today. Let's take a look at the highlights from the first 3 quarters.
Threw himself in, so the Tigers are fired up. They've come up some massive hidings in previous weeks with Jeff Geishan taking over as coach midweek. Richardson sandwiched in between Southern and Ellis. Now Burke, hip and shoulder, great start. Harrison now, left foot, looks pretty good. It's through for the Tigers first. Great kick from Ben Harrison.
Spoil there from Cameron on Bowden was good. Comes back again. Scott West, a little give. Eventually it's run with Weir and away he goes from half-back.
Weir through the centre of the ground, chipping up forward. Looking for Chrissy Grant now, had a quiet day with the flu. Up to Brown, the left foot.
Forward, one hand.
Centre, trying to get the Tigers moving along. Bowden now from 50. This one should go straight through the middle. It certainly does. What a great goal from the Tiger. Collingwood, I think, have done it the best so far with the Nathan Buckley.
Tigers. Bulldog defence, just chipping. That's a terrible kick from Romero. You should never kick off that laying back stance. So the former Bulldog, now a Tiger, has the opportunity to make them pay, and he does.
Wine gets the tap to the running Brown. Campbell out of the air. Chip kick to Nice. He plays on quickly, unaware that Collinyook was on his hammer. Brown, the quick right. Grant, one to Montgomery. Croft, Brown, and Romero, one each. As the Tigers now in Ben Moore. Certain goal for the Tigers. Bowden is third. The Wine taps finds Paul Hudson, who's been on the bench for most of the... Allowing now Moore to dance around opponents. Slims around onto his right foot, looking for the leading Richardson. Sun in his eyes, but keeps his feet as Danny Southern hits the turf. Now Richardson puts on a turn of pace. Come on, son, put it on your boot and put it through for your confidence. That is what the Tigers were looking for. He's done it. Magnificent stuff.
16 more Tigerish than a wounded Tiger. They were certainly wounded during the week with all that speculation about their coaching, and they came out fighting today very fiercely. An even game for 3 quarters, and the Richmond Tigers kicking 5 in that 3rd quarter just to set up a bit of a break at 3/4 time. And this is exactly what happened at 3/4 time. We see their coach there, Jeff Geishan, their new caretaker coach, talking to his players, grouping them up, getting them over towards their supporters, and then Terry Wallace comes onto the ground, sees it happening, and he gets his group of players to go over near their supporters too. So a bit of gamesmanship there at 3/4 time. And joining us now is a man who'll know a lot more about that because he was out on the ground today. In fact, he was the only defender that played for Richmond today that didn't have Chris Grant standing on his shoulders at one time or another. And I'm talking about Duncan Kellaway. Duncan, thanks for joining us.
No worries, Tim.
Now, exactly what did Jeff Geishan say there at 3/4 time?
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. He took us over nice and close to all the supporters there and just sort of let us take all of that in. The crowd was really loud and took us over there. It made it a bit hard for a little while. We couldn't hear much of what he was saying. So, no, it was a good idea, though. I think it fired everyone up for that last quarter. And, yeah, he just sort of spoke a bit about the basics and, you know, just putting in a big last quarter to win the game. And, you know, he's sort of talking about starting again these last five weeks, making a new, fresh start, and I think we did that today.
Duncan, it's been an emotional year for you. You've been up and you've been well down at various times, and also on an emotional week. When did you realise during the week that the club, that the spirit amongst the players was going to generate that sort of victory and that sort of work output?
I think probably from our main training session on the Tuesday night, we've had a similar instance before when Swooper sort of left the club, and I think we all took a bit longer then because everyone was a bit disappointed. This time, all the players realised there's nothing you can do, you just got to get on with the job, so everyone just put their heads down and got right into training.
How different was the message, say, from someone like a Robert Walls that you've been hearing all year and Jeff Geishan's message before you ran out and played today?
Yeah, we had a different preparation before the game, just the times we did our warm-ups and the time the coach spoke to us. Geish spent quite a bit more time actually speaking to us today, whereas Wallsy probably has a longer meeting on the Thursday night. And there were some changes as well in the way we played the game, just the way we're taking to the forward line and some of the way we were moving the ball around the ground as well. So there were different messages.
In particular, was there one particular difference? Did he want you to kick the ball long into the forward line as against maybe chipping the ball out from defence?
Probably the major difference was Warsey was more concentrating on kicking to a spot and Geish was more kick to the target, kick to the leading bloke, so that was a bit of a difference.
OK, well, let's go back now to Optus Oval and pick up play in the final term. 8 minutes into the final term, the Tigers lead by 9 points.
Harrison pushing with Southern. Rogers, kick smothered, falls towards Prescott. He's pressured by Liberatore. Broderick, West in front, looking for an out. Couldn't find it. Weira, he runs into a wall of Tigers. And I think it was an extra little push from Broderick, was it?
Yeah, I think it's a free kick here to Weira.
I think it might have been a high tackle.
Broderick.
As Weira ran. Oh.
So there is a heap going on here.
It's not all that well, Brad Weira.
He confronted Broderick, front on. He's popped one high.
No love lost at the moment.
These 4 points are vital. They're vital for the Tigers to be able to establish credibility back into the world of football, but equally vital for the Bulldogs. They have lost the last 3 in a row and have fallen from top spot down to 6th and have lost 6% in that process. The Dogs are under the pump. Smith goes wide, finds Southern.
D. Southern doesn't let Smith down, takes the chest mark, now gives it off to Brown. Nathan Brown, it's a beautiful goal in the first turn for the Bulldogs on the run. Been a bit quiet since. Now Scotty West looking to set something up for the Bulldogs over the head of Chris Grant, who's been sensational from a marking point of view and also goal kicking. He's already got 4. Bowden on his right boot. Kicks it long. Bowden already has 3 goals. Obviously up the other end of the ground with Prescott in front of Ellis, takes a well-timed mark. Half back for the Tigers.
Really had to bring the ball down then, Ellis.
Centre wing, Harrison, also been good. He's kicked 3. Now it's the Bulldogs with Cameron. Been a quiet day under pressure, allowing Naish back to Campbell, the running Knights, dangerous stuff. Now Harrison on his left side. Good pressure from D. Southern. Now Harrison onto Rogers. Well wrapped up, good pressure from Rowan Smith, the specs. Now Naish on his left foot. Shouldn't let the Tigers down, he doesn't. Puts it through. The Tigers 14. Great work from Chrissy Naish, but
Fantastic with Chrissy Naish, but the build-up was down here in the centre wing where the gang tackling and the pressure by the Richmond players just swarmed the Western Bulldogs player when he had the ball. The ball spilled through. Quick hands here, you can see just forcing the ball forward. Rogers under pressure, just gets it forward. Okay, as Naish, as all good crummers, just finishes the work off for the Richmond side. You know, fantastic goal under these circumstances and really a match-winning goal.
The first goal of the last quarter stretches Richmond lead now out to some 25 points, and they certainly have the momentum of the game. From the centre bounce, Bulldogs forward through Montgomery, but stout in defence. Push. Montgomery to take the free kick. Kicks in towards the lead. Pressure there on Hudson was very good from Callaway. Knights mopping up once again. 22nd disposal to the outer side towards Staffy. Ramiro's been his opponent all day. Loses out on this occasion. Brown coming in to assist. Cameron for the Dogs. Pushing, shoving, just working the ball. Inches, metres. Bond, West, Naish, all in it. Right in front of the huge Richmond following here at Optus Oval this afternoon.
Whenever Richmond get their hands on the ball, all their players are just running. They're running in numbers and just forcing the ball forward.
Bond looks like he's got some cuts to his nose. Been a pretty tough sort of afternoon for the Tigers and the Bulldogs.
Ball bounced. Liberatore actually does the ruck work, takes it cleanly, quick kick out. Smith held, gets away now from Rogers. Decides to go long to half forward. Winds there with Gale. Wind the taller, a couple of goes, not paid by the umpire. In at ground level now he goes. Gale continues to be with him, surging it towards the 50-metre line, and now it's a bounce. A bounce at half forward for the Western Bulldogs. Last goal late in the third quarter, but since then Richmond kicked the last of the third quarter and the first of this last.
So it's the Tigers by 25 points. Centre half forward position for the Bulldogs as Colin gets a quick kick. Free kick against Paul Bullis will go to James Cook for interference, according to umpire Ellis.
Very good job down at fullback there for Richmond. I think he's only given 2 free kicks, 2 goals away, and they both come from free kicks, both in the back. So he's done a fairly solid job. He just needs to, you know, try and keep his hands away from the contest. You can see here the Western Bulldogs is forcing
Connell, who had first go at full forward. Richmond's lead now is 21 points, and the Bulldogs coming back at them. Cook again, stepping backwards, finds a little bit of space, goes in short, doesn't carry to Cameron. Tiger defence there, Smith stages for a free kick, doesn't get it, comes back again. Brown.
Good tackling by Wayne Campbell. Because the kick was a goal,
Yes.
Terry.
Very fine line.
Terry Wallace swinging the moves there. He's actually put his key playmaker in Chris Grant, who's been an option up forward, onto the ball, which is a quite interesting one.
So Smith taken off the line there by Campbell. Sufficiently to win the free kick, and a critical free kick as Nathan Brown's shot at goal went through. Prescott at half back, he'll give it back to Campbell, knocking up possessions. A bounce, kicks long, kicks high, Gale sits underneath it. Bullis it was, ball's free, Grant into the play now. Broderick the tackler, Bullis charging, he's tackled in turn by Liberatore. Naish, Liver picks up another tackle, and the ball to be bounced. Liberatore, the leading tackler in the competition, 5 today, has been that leading tackler since 1991. No one in any season since then has laid more tackles than this man. And no one in the history of the game has played more games of league football wearing the number 39 Guernsey.
Where do you pluck these stats from?
Got him coming everywhere, mate. Smith, ball bounces free. Here's another stat that this boy Knights can play footy. Look at this. You don't need stats on some of that stuff, though, do you, Danny?
Well, that's
I mean,
just
he
champagne
knows the
football
game.
there from Knights. Just waiting the ball out in front.
Richardson from 50 goes long, but searching for that extra distance slightly inaccurately, and another behind to Richardson. 2 goals, 4 against his name.
An indifferent performance from Matthew Richardson. First half looked very frustrated. Got the ball, kicked inaccurately. Then in the third term had a bit of a big spurt. He kicked 2 beautiful goals for the Tigers. One from 50 and one on the run, outrunning Leon Cameron, which would go down as one of the goals of the day as Bowden gets the punch. Trying to push it back into the Richmond forward line. Good tackle from Wynd on Gale. Pressure by Moore on Smith. Campbell, one of the Tigers' best. Here come the Tigers now. Bowden, who already has 3 goals, 3 great goals, up to the goal square. Harrison can't mark. Croft under pressure. Looks for the solace of a behind.
It was great play there from the Richmond zone there when the Western Bulldogs tried to kick out. You see Chris Grant was trying to get the ball going their way, and Brendan Gale and the bigger Richmond players forced the ball forward for another score.
3 goals, 3. The Tigers lead amounts to 21 points as Simon Cox, looking desperately for an option, gets the hurry on from umpire Mark Nash, elects to kick right down the middle of the ground with a beautiful drop punt. 2-on-1, good punch from Kellaway. Knights, one of Richmond's best. Liberatore, his handball goes straight to Rogers. The Panther-like Gasper, his pass, looking for Harrison. Has time to steady and turn on the left foot. He's already kicked a couple. 3, in fact. And his kick is wayward, but it's still in the Richmond forward line next to their left-hand behind post. They lead by 21 points. We've got just under 9 minutes remaining in this final term as the Tigers are putting pressure. It's Chris Grant, who's come down from centre forward, as Danny Frawley mentioned, spending time on the ball now, looking to give the Dogs an impetus. They need a lift.
They're really struggling to get it out of Richmond's forward line at the moment.
Just get the feeling that they may have dropped their heads a little, maybe tired. 3 tough games, one up against Sydney Swans last week up in Sydney, the Bulldogs. They were belted by 97 points. But the Tigers, they were thrashed by 137 points against Adelaide. They've got no excuses to be tired. They never had the ball. As Knights, beautiful play, centres the ball. Ben Moore can steady and chip it over, and Mark Nash can take his time, steady again, and the Tigers are on the board again. Another major. They're 15th, and that could have wrapped it up for the Tigers.
That's what I like about, yeah, that's the thing about football.
Just over 8 minutes of play remaining. The task very, very difficult for the Western side now. Here's their next chance. Brown and West combining, but Galloway been a member of a very strong defence this afternoon. Campbell again pushes wide. Grant always going to mark that one in the front. Gasper feints a handball, eventually then gives it on back out to Gale. He to Rogers, left foot to the wing, in front Curley. Must bring it back in quickly. Comes into centre board, finds Wine. Looks around, went for Ramiro, ignored him, eventually to Johnson. Johnson long, wobbling one, Montgomery from behind, the wobbling kick. Now it's Montgomery's turn. Left foot, back to the right foot, brings it back around. Left foot, it perhaps should have been, young man.
Yeah, he went to go to turn to open up the goals, but then went back into the pocket. So
He's been a very dangerous player, Montgomery. He's kicked 3 goals, 1 or 2, I think, so he's done his job.
So Terry Wallace watching on, coaching his 28th game since taking over mid-season last year. Now confronted by another mid-season change in coach in Geishan. Geishan, a former Footscray player. Wallace, actually a former Tiger player, swapping camps. And it's Geishan at the moment has the advantage. His players are going in hard. They're taking everything the Bulldogs will throw at them. They're standing strong. Brad Johnson giving directions, perhaps to the umpire. Gale down to Campbell. Another kick. And another boundary throw-in.
Wayne Campbell, 23 kicks, Terry, 13 handballs. A smile on Ross Lyon's face, one of the assistant coaches for the Tigers.
Geishan has fallen into the role. No smiling just yet, Russ.
Not allowed to do that. At least he's losing his hair. That's what you've got to do when you're a coach, isn't that right, Wills? As Curley tries to scramble the ball out of some pressure. Cameron it is, putting D Southern under pressure. Naish, clever, trying to get the ball moving for the Tigers. They've been good at that all day. Cameron is caught, wrapped up, driven into the ground. Ellis under enormous pressure by the Tigers. Look, they're hunting in packs. 2-on-1.
Fantastic pressure there.
Great work from the Tigers.
As they've done all day, just, you know, their gang tackling around the ball has just been unbelievable. And that's one of the reasons why they're winning this game, just the pressure around the ball and off the ball.
I think the Richmond supporters must ask, why are they so inconsistent at it? Like 137-point defeat against Adelaide. They've lost to Geelong. They defeated Hawthorn by 76 points, lost to Brisbane, beat Collingwood in a rip snorter at the G on a Friday night 6 or 7 weeks ago. So very difficult side to follow the Tigers this year. Knights, which I suppose he's been missing for the first half of the season with a knee injury during the night series. But the Tigers look like they're going to come out winners today, Danny. But
suppose there's going to be one lonely man in Melbourne, and that's Robert Walls. You know, you really do have to feel for him a little bit. You know, obviously new coach, which would have been fantastic. But
similar circumstances to with Neil Baum when he was sacked and Greg Hutchison taking over, and they beat the Tigers at the MCG. But maybe you've got to ask the question from the Tigers, you know, what is the story? Why couldn't you have played like this with the same commitment and tenacity at the ball the previous week? So the question has to be asked, as Bond has hurt himself pretty badly. It doesn't look too good, whether it's a knee or an ankle.
He's in a lot of pain, isn't he? I mean, he's a hard man, Chris Bond. Takes a lot to stop him.
Oh, he's not well. So maybe he should stay on that side of the boundary line and get some treatment. The game looks like it's over. We've got just under 5.5 minutes remaining in the game. The Tigers lead by 4-2.
Here's the Bond injury there.
Oh, his left knee might have twisted under that tackle.
Liver's landed on his left knee for sure.
So from a Tiger point of view, let's hope that he's okay as Wine takes the ball out of the ruck in front of Joel Bowden. Brown brings good Cameron into play. Yeah, good floating handball, allowing Cameron to run into position without having to move his stride. Now Johnson under pressure. The Naish arm missing him, luckily. But it was caught by the excellent tackle by Campbell, and one of Richmond's best. And sensational day from a statistical point of view. 37 possessions, 4 marks. Campbell plays on quickly, Tawney off half-back. The Tigers looking for more goals. The high flyer is Richardson, unable to mark. Liberatore been under enormous pressure, not only today, but during the week after Paul Kelly failing to shake his hand after the game against the Swans last week. So maybe that's affected him. As the Daffy kick lands in the arms of Harrison, who pulls in a beautiful one-hander. And he's been a very, very good half forward for Richmond. He's already kicked 3. And his 4th will seal the match for the Tigers here at Optus Oval.
It's really been a great fall for Richardson. He's, you know, been playing centre forward in the forward pocket. I just think that, you know, he's presented himself, and as you said, he's kicked 4 goals, but he's actually been involved in about another 3 or 4 as well. So he's been a very productive player for the Richmond Football Club.
So Harrison's 4th goal, Richmond 16. That's 9-9 Bulldogs. Tigers move on to play Fremantle at the Wacker next Saturday night, whereas, sorry, the Richmond side, whereas the Bulldogs take on Melbourne at Optus Oval next Saturday. So all is not lost from the Bulldogs' point of view. They may lose a decent amount of percentage as we see the lead up with Miranda.
Here's the build-up here, Miranda. Michael Gale just drawing the pressure from the handball. Daffy quickly getting onto his boot, and Harrison just reading it better than anyone else.
Daffy's been pretty good, Terry. Look, he hasn't kicked goals or anything, but at least he's been active around the half-forward line, providing options for the Tigers.
Without doubt, he's been quite aggressive underneath the contest on more than one occasion. The Tigers now by 32 points. Liberatore, the quick kick out towards half-forward. Tawney missed the mark. Grant started the game in fine fashion, but really has faded on out. A couple of spectacular marks. 3 goals up in the half-time, 1 in the third. There's Chris Bond getting ice applied to that ankle injury that we saw occur on the outer side. Big Justin Charles with his headgear on. They'd be quite content with the day.
Off to Daffy. Here's a chance for him to put his first through, but can't find the accuracy.
Confidence is a great thing, isn't it? You just see the Richmond players are just running down in numbers, and you know, it's just an important part of football, the confidence factor.
Incredible thing for me, it was just 21 days ago that Richmond beat Hawthorn by 78 points.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And, just a fortnight ago, they led Geelong at 3/4 time.
So all the urgency's gone out of the game so far. Johnson.
Good to have a win after last week's demoralising defeat. It was good to be back on the winners board.
And no spiteful incidents at the end of the game, because we did see at half-time the boys having a fair bit to say to each other.
Yeah, half-time there were a few words thrown at each other, but no, after the game it was all handshakes, and all the Richmond boys were pretty happy. And Geese got us in and took us over to the crowd. And
is that what he did? He came out onto the ground. We see him here, and he actually gestures to the boys to come together, and then you obviously move over towards your fans there on that side of the ground.
I think he just wanted us to head over to the fans as a group and just acknowledge them. It was good to have such great support after the loss we had last week, so I think it was just in recognition of the support they gave us today.
That's a real part of football, isn't it, Darren? Certainly the Sydney people have embraced the Swans more so than ever before, and you guys always go over, and we've seen Essendon do it many times, the West Coast. And Essendon, I suppose, were the first couple of clubs that I can think of doing it, but certainly the Swans are pretty keen on it. And we can see here the Tigers haven't had too many times that they can, in fact, thank their supporters, but they're about to go over and, in fact, thank them, which is great to see, Darren.
Yeah, it is, and the crowd up in Sydney's been fantastic, and we thank them every time we play up there, because they get right behind us, and it gives us a big lift. And Tim was saying that Essendon started it off, so I'll have to believe him on that.
Let's take a look at the final scores. Richmond home by 15 points, 3-goal turnaround in that third quarter, and that really was the quarter that set up that victory. A very, very hard-fought game, that one. Players from both sides will be extremely sore tomorrow morning when they wake up. Let's go now inside to the rooms after the game, Duncan. And is this something that Robert Walls has been doing throughout the season, talking to the players after the game individually?
Yeah, normally you go in and have a bit of a stretch so you don't pull up too sore the next day, and Wallsy would walk around and have a chat to the players, and yeah, Geese did pretty much the same sort of thing today. So yeah, it's good to have the coach speak to you after the game.
There's very much an attitude by players that the king is dead, long live the king. You really just have to get on with business, don't you? But you must have felt sorry in some respects for Wallsy, who has supported the players in pretty tough times this year.
Yeah, Wallsy's been great. All the players were 100% behind Wallsy, so there's no doubt about that. And I think it is pretty hard for him to leave the club and then we win the next week. But no, he was a great coach, and he's got great ideas on football, and it was just unfortunate that the players didn't do the job out on the field.
Well, Darren, you've been through that too, haven't you, at Sydney, when Gary Buckenara was given the chop early in the season?
Yeah, that's right.
Players said there was like blood on our hands after that, and we're the ones out on the ground, and it's normally the coach that cops it. So, you know, if you're a player, you can get dropped to the reserves. I guess you can get put off the list at the end of the year, but it's normally the coach who bears the brunt of the team's lack of performance on the ground.
Darren, you played against the Bulldogs last week. We knew a couple of them were crook, but you really gave them a nice old pasting. Do you think they're finished for the season? They've lost 4 in a row.
Deck yourself out in some AFL footy gear from top to toe, and also
Jeff Geishan to record a 15-point win. It was the Bulldogs' 4th consecutive loss, and their position in the 8 has become precarious. Richmond's Wayne Campbell was reported on a tripping charge.
It was a more committed Tigers side today, determined to turn around its fortunes.
Great start. Harrison now, left foot, looks pretty good. It's through for the Tigers first.
The Bulldogs were equally desperate for a victory with 3 early goals. Champion forward Chris Grant was in spectacular form.
Drives it up forward, Chrissy Grant! I love that start.
A late first quarter goal kept the Tigers in touch.
Now Bowden on the all-trusty left boot. There's another one.
Richmond spearhead Richardson was holding his marks, but his conversion rate was poor. It was left to fellow forwards to kick the goal.
Certain goal for the Tigers. Bowden is third.
The Bulldogs coach was looking pretty cool, but the Tigers were in hot form. A late goal by Wallace's team made it a point the difference at half-time.
Dragged to the ground. Montgomery a chance for the Bulldogs. He puts it through, makes no mistake.
Early in the third term, Richardson finally found some confidence in front of goal.
That is what the Tigers were looking for. He's done it. Magnificent stuff.
Miranda was one of several Tigers players to dominate the quarter, which would have pleased new coach Geishan. The brilliant Grant was doing his best to lift his side by posting his 4th goal. But an early last quarter goal gave the Tigers the momentum they needed.
Well wrapped up, good pressure from Rowan Smith, the speeds. Now Nash on his left foot. Shouldn't let the Tigers down, he doesn't. Puts it through.
Naish kicked 3 goals in the final term to seal a great victory for the embattled Tigers.
At the MCG, Sydney handed
Up the right, it probably would have been the strife-torn Tigers, but after a week of turmoil, Richmond bounced back for one of its best performances of the season. Joining us is one of the Tigers' young veterans, Duncan Kellaway. Duncan, it has been a tumultuous, turbulent week. Why don't you just talk us through the events?
Yeah, I guess it started with that big loss in Adelaide. We came back for training on Monday, and the club let us know before the directors actually met that Warsey was probably going to be on the way out, and Geish was most likely going to be taking over the coaching role. And I think it's happened before with Swooper when he left, so I think the players realise it's just a matter of getting on with things and just getting out on the track and going about things as you usually do.
So you were well informed all the way through as to what was happening, and what part did the players actually play, Duncan, in the various stages throughout the week?
As usual, we sort of play no part in the decision who's going to be coaching us. They let Nida, One and I know first, and we went for a bit of a run, and we just let the rest of the boys know on the Monday night.
Was that when Leon Daphne came down to the club, and it was rumoured that Robert Walls left at about 4:30, he jumped in the car and sped off? Were you guys informed before he actually left the ground then?
Yeah, we had a chat to him just before he left.
Could you safely say, Duncan, that the players were absolutely fine and happy and enamoured with Robert Walls to a man? Could you say that?
Yep, I could. Yeah, 100% behind him.
Well, then it seems amazing that they would play like they did, and then I know it's tradition, but come out yesterday and do what they did there.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but we've been a bit like that all year, really. I don't think it's anything new for us. We've been up and down all season, so I don't know if you could just put it down to the coach. Really, apart from the Adelaide game, I don't think our form's been really bad the last few weeks. We beat Hawthorn. We played reasonably well against Geelong, who sort of came over the top of us.
Melbourne.
Yeah, that was a while ago though now, the last few weeks.
Just forget the past, you can't do anything about that, but Tugboat Geishan, is he well respected by the players? Is he a bloke that's been there? And
yeah, he's good. He sort of, right from the time he came, he really got in amongst the players, and he likes to mix with the boys and have a chat, and he's a very positive sort of coach, so yeah, he's popular amongst all the players.
Well, Maxie, yesterday the Bulldogs came out and they probably looked like they were going to win this game. They started very, very well, but Richmond sure matched them from there in after about quarter time. Benny Harrison, one of 4 goals on the left foot here, was very, very good at centre half forward. Stood up, contested exceptionally well. At the other end of the ground, Chris Grant was superb, but this fellow coming up here, Montgomery, chipped in for 2 goals before he got injured halfway through the game and had much less of an influence upon the match. Chrissy Grant, as I said, he got injured halfway through the third quarter and really failed to go on with it from there, understandably, but he took a couple of sensational grabs. What we see here is the Bulldogs kick in, and they were trying to manufacture something at this stage, and the turnover just cost them dearly. Bowden putting his goal through over the stand there. And Matty Richardson, I don't know whether it's confidence, whether to go with two hands at the moment, but he is just incredibly quick when you put him on a turn-in circle, and he just turned Danny Southern inside out on that occasion. We come up again here and you see Chrissy Grant, this is just fractionally after he's had the injury, but he was pretty sore after that. You see he stayed down for another 30 seconds or so, and they just went away with it. See this goal here, there is running support players here. This is in the last quarter. The Western Bulldogs really failed to have any running support players for the day. That goal there. There was never a goal by the Bulldogs that you could say mirrored that sort of situation. Don't do that, Sam, or I'll kill you. The Bulldogs were very good at the start of the game. Terry Wallace coached them exceptionally well. But one thing that's been happening this year, Sam, is that the Bulldogs go into the centre circle, 4 players, at least 2 of them man up almost in a tagging role. Yesterday after half-time, they didn't do that. They're not playing a similar game. I'm sure Wallace is instructing them, but they're not playing or carrying out the instructions the same way that Wallace has asked them earlier in the season. Yes, Samuel.
Well, you know, the Western Bulldogs.
Of Nace, Droop and Ellis, there was 5 50 metres, 4 or 5 goals from free kicks. Was it a bit confusing and inconsistent?
Probably, yeah, no different to what it normally is. I didn't notice.
Duncan, just quickly, is there your game plan? Was there a radical change to your game plan? Because it was mooted during the course of the week that perhaps you've been a bit short, chipping it away, and you made a lot of elementary mistakes. Did you?
Yeah, there was some slight changes. I think Guiche probably emphasised more kicking to an actual target in the forward line rather than kicking to the danger spot, which people talk about. So we're actually trying to pick our targets, and I think probably trying to get the ball moving with just a quick short handball when you're held up.
Duncan, Geeshan really milked the atmosphere there yesterday at Optus Oval. At 3/4 time, the crowd were right behind the Tigers. They'd had a good third quarter. He took them right over near to the fence where the cheer squad was. A lot of atmosphere was soaked through the players for that. And Terry Wallace reacted by taking his players to the other end of the ground where his cheer squad was. Was there a reason for that? And did you feel it as the players on the ground at the time?
Probably wasn't a bad idea. You did get the feel of the crowd. Made it a bit tough at times. We couldn't really hear what he was saying. The crowd was going so that loud, but I think it was a good idea, something a bit different.
So I just thought, to finish off, yesterday, I thought Richmond's best 3 players were Knights, Campbell and Broderick. By no coincidence, all on ballers, and I thought it was the best running game that Richmond have played all year.
So you think Richmond will beat Hawthorn in the last game, do you?
Richmond? Or are you talking about the Western Bulldogs?
No, Western Bulldogs will beat Hawthorn.
Third go, Footscray or Western Bulldogs?
Western Bulldogs will beat Hawthorn in the last game.
Unless something drafts.
And good luck to Fremantle North, Port Adelaide and Carlton. It's a pretty tough run home, but a lot at stake there.
Yep, hopefully we'll win
a lot of pride for the Tigers. Too. Yes, he is, Lou, no doubt about it. After the break.
Thursday night, it's Scobie Breesley Award night for the best and fairest jockey, and that's the reason we got him here. Okay. Hey, look, right, I'm telling you. Right, hey, will you get out the way, please?
Barbie, I'm telling you this time.
Sit down. Come on.
Get on now, go on.
God, this is serious.
Oh, you've got to spin the board.
That's right.
There it is.
Come on, you do it.
We'll have to apologise to all our viewers for this nice mess-up. The boys are under tremendous strain. If you do that once more, and I'll knock you right out too. You'll never get up again. This is a very serious competition. Shut up, will you?
Come on.
Come on, Darren.
Come on, Darren.
It's a big prize.
5 makes him 10. 5 is 15. 2 17 to the man. Yeah, keep on, don't argue with the umpire. 5 makes him 22. Give umpire again, criticise the umpire, you're out.
Come on, Duncan.
Okay, Duncan Callaway. 5.
Mel.
Oh, 15.
Next time.
20. Oh, 30. 35.
35.
Now 35 plays.
22.
22. You've got a big job ahead of you. Darren, lift your game, Darren. 5.
27.
27. 32.
Come on, Darren. Bullseye.
32. 37. 42.
Needs a 10.
47. 35. You need 13 to win. Kick. Just a minute, Sam. 5. Makes it 40. 50. 55. Want some more for practice. 60. 65. Congratulations, you won the fantastic prize. Where's that? Can you give that to me?
There you are.
Oh, there you Seagull. It's fantastic. It's really great. And bad luck for you. Oh, God. Yes, what do you want, Sam?
Showing the highlights of the Lockett incident after this, so it's back to you, Max.
Sam, categorically we cannot confirm, so we can't show it. I'm sorry.
What,
We can't.
We can't.
Everyone else has.
So that's enough.
Let's get a revolution on Boyd
Yes,
Brothers list.
top weight Sam the Gouch Kekovich. Wind him up over there, for God's sake, please. More of the footy after the show.